Well, here we are, and Terry, I got to say, I'm proud of our new members that have actually come this far, and they're actually ready to learn, because this is one of the biggest decisions that they make in their lifetime. And so we created a leading California school. Now, Terry's been working on this for, I think, almost 7 years, and so I'm super excited. So, Terry. Why don't you welcome everyone to week one of school training of our Leaving California school community?
Yeah, as we mentioned in our introduction, David, this is not just an overnight decision for many people. This can take days, weeks, months, years to decide to actually leave California. Our goal here is to help you think of everything that needs to be taken care of as you move through this process. This isn't just an overnight decision where you say, you know what, tomorrow we're leaving, we're moving to Tennessee. There are a lot of processes and a lot of steps you got to go through to make this a smooth move. And by the way, there's always going to be hiccups. So don't be afraid to know that there's going to be challenges along the way.
Well, in week one, the first lesson that we want to teach everybody in our school community is mindset. And I don't know if it's hundreds or I'm thinking it's thousands. And the fact that we have 300,000 on our Facebook group and this community that we're building is for a smaller percentage of people that are really pretty serious about leaving California. So Terry, go ahead and touch on mindset when it comes to actually leaving California.
Well, I lived in California for 35 years, David, and every year things to me got worse and worse from a political perspective, from a cost of living perspective, from a just from the challenges, traffic, homelessness, everything seemed to get worse every year. And my challenge was that every solution that they proposed only made things worse. So it was definitely not an overnight decision for me, but it was a progression of I got to get out of here. I can't keep living like this. And I'd lived in many other parts of the country before, so I knew there were great places. Many of our members have lived in California their whole life, and this is not an easy decision for them. So the process is that once you get that mindset that, look, we know there's a better life somewhere else, you've got to buckle up, stay focused, and start through that process. There's a lot to cover, whether you're working a job, you got kids in school, you're retired, all of these things need to be considered. And you've got to think through a lot of the process as you decide on where to go and when to go.
And by the way, guys, I want to make sure that, I let you know that Terry has shared with the groups, and we've done podcasts, we've done webinars, we've done a lot of information. And basically, by having a support group and having a community, that is one of the greatest things that we get back, the feedback that we get back from our members, just saying, hey, it's great that we have a community like that. So let's move on and let's talk a little bit about the emotional realities of the relocation, facing the unknown. That's probably the biggest one. Terry, you want to touch on, facing the unknown?
Well, we all live in a comfort zone, and we all know our neighbors. We know our traffic that we're going to be dealing with. We know the weather, what the weather's going to be like in various times of the year when you're living in California. And now you're facing the unknown. What's the weather going to be like in Tennessee? What's the weather going to be like in North Dakota? What's the weather going to be like in Texas? And you open up the headlines, and you see a tornado racing through Oklahoma. All of these things create uncertainty, but life is uncertain anyway.
Right.
Especially on the California freeways. If you're driving on the California freeway, you never know what's going to be coming at you. So facing the unknown is just a matter of understanding with the mindset that you're going to get through this, that you're going to have a much better life. Look at the groups. Look at what's happening in the Facebook groups. How many thousands of people have gone through this process and say, what, David, what do they say after they've moved?
I wish I would have done it sooner.
I wish I would have done it sooner.
Yeah,
that's right. So there's always an adjustment. But again, it takes a strong mindset to leave California. And maybe not. Maybe you're like, I've had it. I'm out of here. I don't care where I live.
And again, guys, we're not here to tell you should go or you shouldn't go, but we want to help you. And if you're having doubts, we want to help you overcome those doubts and focus on the reason that you're moving. And we're going to help you build confidence. And that's one of the key things that we do in our groups. We want to help you be confident about what you're doing and the decision you're making. So let's move on to the next slide. And on this, it wouldn't be fair if we didn't talk about some of the practical reasons why people are leaving California. And this segment of our first week of school could take us a long time, but we're going to just focus on the top ones. And Terry, I think one of the top ones is the cost of living. Like that, it's insane, the cost of living. Go ahead and touch on that.
Well, we're finding that people who even agree with everything that's going on in the politics of California are saying, well, I love it here. I love the politics, but I can't afford to stay here anymore. So they're finding, so everyone, for the most part, is finding, especially if you're working a middle-class job. If you're working a middle-class job, are you going to get a 10 to 20% net cost of living raise every year? Net meaning after taxes? No, because groceries go up 10 to 20% a year, especially since fuel costs are going so high. Electricity is very high. They want to phase out natural gas. All of these things, all they do is add to the cost of living and the uncertainty in California. So cost of living to me is probably the number one reason people leave, regardless of their political beliefs.
Guys, on a daily basis, we talk to our members and we help them and we guide them. And, one of the biggest things that they talk about is the quality of life. And what we can tell you is because we've done this for so long, that our members that share with us and they share stories in our groups, they talk about the quality of life. What do they say about the quality of life in California versus the quality of life in their new community, Terry?
Well, let's see. You've got homelessness, you got crime, you got traffic. That's the quality of life in California. Is it a beautiful place? Absolutely. But I will tell you, I remember being in with somebody who was driving me around in the northern part of Georgia through the windy roads. He said, "This is my commute every day. Just a nice tree-lined, windy road that went for miles." He loved it. He loved his quality of life versus sitting on the 405 in Los Angeles or on the 101 in Northern California, or I sat on 680 in the East Bay every day for an hour and a half to go about 20 miles. I don't miss any of that. The quality of life, and by the way, sure, is the weather the same here in Florida, where I live now, as it is in California? You know what? This time of year, it is.
Yeah.
Summertime, it's hot. But I've got air conditioning everywhere I go. So the quality of life to me is dramatically better. I sleep better at night. I pay my bills every month. Life is so much better outside of California for me.
And by the way, guys, I mean, another one that's really big is career opportunities. We have a lot of people that leave because they have an opportunity with their career, but some people leave and they're not sure what their career is going to be. And that's why being in a community like this and being in school is really, really helpful. And we have the resources where we can help you. And we always tell people you need to go check out these different cities and see what the opportunities are. You're not just going to make a rash decision. But career opportunities, you want to say anything about that, Terry?
Sure. Why don't you follow some of the companies that are leaving California? They're leaving by the hundreds and thousands. Find those companies and say, hey, look, I'm leaving also. Can I come join your company? But also, in the South, manufacturing and businesses are thriving because the cost of doing business is so significantly less. This may shock people who still live in California, but there are states and municipalities that actually welcome new businesses. They give them a positive feeling when they come to their area and when they grow their businesses. They actually want them to grow their businesses in their area versus places in California that want to punish businesses for the fact that they actually create a profit and employ people.
Yeah, so just to wrap up this segment, talking about why people are leaving, I mean, obviously it's the crime, it's the homelessness, it's the overregulation, the overtaxation, and what we're finding with our members. And by the way, guys, I mean, they do, a lot of our members will share, and we're actually in the middle of building a mentorship program where we actually have people that have successfully left that are going to be sharing, and we're going to have them on, and they're going to be giving some tips. So when we're talking about leaving and why they're leaving, we didn't miss anything. I'm pretty sure we covered it all, right, Terry?
Well, we also have tools. So let's remember, we have a whole network of realtors who can help you sell your California home, as well as help you buy your home in your new state. In addition, we have checklists, moving checklists. We have a great list of movers that have helped thousands of our members leave. We also have insurance professionals. We even have the ability to get health insurance in your new state. We have a lot of tools available to you that you can use that will help you go through this process. We also, by the way, we also have a budget checklist, a budget spreadsheet, a very extensive budget spreadsheet that will help you figure out what your current costs are, what they're going to be in your new home, budgeting for your move, depending upon how you're going to move. We have a lot of tools available to you also, and we'd love to connect with you and help share those with you.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that point up, because now that we're in this new community and we have the ability to be able to cater to these members here in our Skool community, we're able to give you a lot of resources. And so we're still trying to stay on the theme of our first week of Skool, is our mindset for smooth relocation. And when you embrace the new possibilities, I want you to really focus on your gains, not what you're going to lose. And Terry says it. I mean, he says this all the time. You're going to lose some of the weather and some of the beautiful scenery that you have, but if you can put that aside and you can focus on the gains. So talk a little bit about the gains that our members achieve when they leave California, Terry.
Well, as we said, it's the most important thing is your cost of living. The cost of living drops dramatically almost anywhere else in the country, unless you move to Manhattan. If you move to Manhattan or Seattle, it's going to go up, but that's okay. That's your choice.
Yeah.
But the cost of living drops dramatically. The cost of regulation, the cost of everything goes down dramatically in most other places. And you know what a lot of other communities do? They put the tax dollars into the schools. They put them into the infrastructure. They put them into making the community better, not into the pensions of those who retire in their 50s from public service on 90% pay. It actually goes into building a better community. In most other places in the country, you actually have public servants. They serve for the betterment of the public instead of themselves. Is that too political?
No, no, no. And again, I mean, there's so many gains, but you're going to lose something. I mean, there's give and take for sure. And Terry just alluded to some of the documents and the different things that we have, the resources that we have. So it's really important that you stay organized and you use lists and you have timelines. And we can provide those with you now that you're a part of this community. And I want you to think of this community as the next level up from Facebook, where people are just kind of griping and saying negative comments and negative things. This is actually a place where you can actually have things happen and you can be on your way to getting out of California. And just, you're going to have to let go of the familiar. You're going to have to acknowledge that some of the familiarities, that's a hard word to say, you're going to have to let those go. So, you want to wrap up this segment, Terry? The mindset for a smooth relocation. Go ahead and wrap that up.
I would say embrace the change. This is a new adventure for you. You're going to look back years from now and say, why didn't we leave sooner? Thank God we left. We love our new home. We love our new community. And it's a great country out there, and go and enjoy it.
Well, next we're going to talk about the overview of the relocation process. What we found with our members throughout the last several years is that research and your decision, you really need to understand your motivations. And the more research that our members do, it seems like maybe you could talk a little bit about this, Terry. When you do the research of your new cities, and typically we recommend that you find 2 or 3 new places, and you really research them. We encourage you to get on a plane. We have realtors in our network that will meet you there, that'll show you around the city, that will really guide you on this big decision. So talk about research, Terry.
Yeah, we even have tools that can help you figure out the best places based upon whether you have school children, whether you're looking for a job, whether you based upon politics. We have tools that can help you figure out the best places to consider. And then as David said, go get on a plane and go see some of these places. Go experience them. And by the way, our realtors are not Pollyanna. They'll tell you the downside and the pluses of moving to those places. I can assure you that in Charleston, South Carolina, you can get a hurricane. But you know what? They've built the infrastructure to sustain themselves through hurricanes. Things are not the same in other parts of the country, and that's a good thing. Don't look at that as a negative. That's a good thing.
Yeah. And the next one is financial and legal prep. Obviously, we're not attorneys, but having legal counsel may be a good idea. And, thinking about your budgeting is going to be key. There's going to be some things that you may have forgotten by being in this community and us giving you worksheets and giving you some input on this big decision. It's going to help you. And we want you to think about in your mindset, you need to think about, okay, how much is it going to cost to move? How much is it going to cost to list my house? How much is my new house going to cost? So all these things are really important. So financial and legal prep, any other thoughts, Terry?
Well, we can help people with all of this. We can help them with the tools to plan all of this. So that's what we're here for.
One of the next part is logistics and planning. We really can help you with having a set plan and having a real timeline of when these things are going to happen. But one of the things that Terry is most proud of is he has worked extremely hard with moving companies and moving vendors, because the moving industry, it can be a nightmare. And we've heard stories where people will hold your stuff for ransom, and they'll say, you got to give us another $5,000. We're not going to take this stuff off the truck. So Terry is super proud of the movers and the moving relationship with moving companies. Terry, go ahead and talk about this. I know this is something you're really passionate about.
Yes, it's the Wild West out there when it comes to moving with brokers and things like that. We actually have people who can recommend the best place, the best way to move, whether that's using U-Haul, doing it all yourself, driving it yourself, all the way up to full service moves. We have people that can help recommend the best way and the most affordable ways to get your contents to your new home. And we have helped thousands and thousands of our members successfully move. And it's very gratifying to know that we've helped people get past that, versus, as David was saying, the horror stories of not only do you have to pay me $5,000 or I'm not going to unload the truck, we've had them say, you owe me $5,000 or you'll never see your possessions again. So we're working with companies that are legitimate, that have years of, most of them, almost all of them are family-owned businesses, and they pride themselves in helping people leave California.
And by having the team and having, I kind of joke about this, and it's not really funny, but a lot of times people will say, you know what, I'm going to use my cousin's brother's sister's friend. And I believe he's a realtor. I think he's licensed. And I think maybe he sold 1 or 2 houses in the last 6 years. But when you use people in our network and people that work with relocations every day, they can help you, with setting up your utilities. They'll give you a list of phone numbers you need to know. There's such a difference. And Terry, I know that you're passionate about this one too. How important is it to use the right team when you're relocating out of California and going somewhere else? Go ahead and touch on that.
Well, I've spent years, David, building a team of professionals who can assist our members, versus, as you said, using my cousin's sister's wife, boyfriend, who is a cashier at Walgreens full-time and then sells real estate between 8 o'clock and 8:30 every Thursday evening. So there's a whole different group of people out there on the professionals who we can recommend to you that you can work with that will help you. And by the way, you don't have to, just because you're working with them, visiting their city, doesn't mean that you have to use them when if you choose a different city, but just use a different one of our realtors. They're not there to sell you a house. They're there to make sure you're comfortable in your new home.
Yeah, and just like me here in Las Vegas, I mean, these people will help you integrate into this new community, and I'll give you resources, I'll give you activities, I'll give you things, and I can connect you to the community, because I believe that once you get into the new community, it's not just about being there, but it's actually about being a part of it. And that's what we find over and over again, that our members that leave and go into these new communities They feel like people are opening up their arms. They're welcoming them into a community. They have community and they have support. And that's one of the biggest things that they truly, truly like about leaving. And they felt like they were missing that in California. I know this is another topic, Terry, that you're very passionate about, but please, I want to get your 2 cents on what I just said about community.
Well, you don't spend your life commuting in traffic in these new communities. Typically, you're going to live fairly close to work because you can afford to buy near your work, or if you're working from home. But there's a lot of people that they're not used to having friendly neighbors. They're not used to having friendly shop owners because life is not a rat race in most of the rest of the country. So it's just a different world out there. We want you to go out and enjoy it.
Yeah, and again, I'm gonna say it again, Terry, we say this all the time. Leaving California, welcome to America. America, a place where there's not that many regulations. We're not overtaxing you. We're not overburdening you. We're not getting in your business completely. We're not telling you that, oh, don't get me started, that men should play in women's sports. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to go there,
Oops.
Terry. But oops. And I mean, it's just really freedom. And that's a word we use a lot on our show. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up week one. We're actually really proud of you that you made it through week one of training, because this is something that you need. There's some things that when somebody says, I want to leave California, they don't think of everything. There's a massive amount of things that need to happen for you to effectively leave. Now, we have heard horror stories where people just said, I'm leaving, and they get out quick and they don't have planning and they don't do these steps. So this was a lot of information, Terry. It was a lot more than I thought after doing this first week of school. Let's go ahead and recap everything that we went over. Go ahead, Terry.
Well, use our resources. That's really what all I really need to say in the recap. Use our resources. We're here to help you. Don't be afraid to reach out to us. We're here to help this move as smooth as possible. Again, we can soup to nuts. We can help you figure out where to go. We can help you recommend people that you can work with that will make it a smooth transition. We can work on your timeline. If it's next week or if it's 5 years from now, we're happy to work with anybody who's considering leaving California.
And I have to say what this is. This is called Leaving California School. So I'm going to give you an assignment, and I'm doing it from my heart. I'm not doing it to be mean, but I really think that this is probably one of the biggest steps that you'll make is you need to write down your top 3 motivations. And I want you to really think about those top 3 motivations of why you want to leave California. And I also want you to share the 3 major concerns or obstacles that's in your way. And I would love for you to either send that to me at David Berry at LasVegasRealtor.com, or send it to Terry. He'll give you his email here in a second. And I believe that this would be the very first step, the first positive step on your way to getting out of California. Terry, go ahead and give them their assignment and tell them what your email is.
Well, David, I'm going to give them the Leaving California, leavingca.us, team at leavingca.us. That's the best way because our team monitors that email address. I think that's the best one to use.
And I'm super excited about this first week. I mean, I think that this information, what would have happened, Terry, if we would have started this 6 years ago and given all this information to our members? I mean, I just think back. And now it's 2025 and we're moving forward and we are giving you guys this information. So in closing, Terry, go ahead and wrap it up. And what else do you have to tell our new school students about leaving California?
There is a great life and a great future for you and your family outside of California. We're here to help make that as smooth and as efficient as possible with the least amount of cost for you. I assure you, you'll be thanking us years from now.
Thank you guys for tuning into week one, and congratulations for getting done with week one. And I'm going to go ahead and say I appreciate you getting me your homework, getting it done as soon as possible. And I'll see you in week 2. I can't wait to share that with you.